We are go for liftoff.
Yo. Welcome to an episode of Toke Talks, your sports podcast for the everyday fan. I'm your moderator, Chino, here with host Felix, Luciano. We're here with co-host Dustin, Walter. I just want to shout out.
Nice.
Yes, the nice. What's today? Thursday, the 11th. Man, last week we ended off with a couple predictions about Westbrook. I think Felix and I kind of agreed that we wanted to see Westbrook in Miami with Buckets, Jimmy Buckets. That would have been dope.
Yep.
My man Dustin said he probably thought because of that OD contract he holds that he's staying in with OKC. But breaking news today, we have Westbrook getting traded to the Rockets for Chris Paul and two protected first-round picks.
Yep.
So now that brings OKC. Hey, man, they've been making moves this offseason, man. They got rid of their two studs, but they got 8 first-round picks through 2026. What do you think's going to go on there? Couple weird things going on behind scenes, Dustin. What you think about Westbrook rejoining his old teammate?
Touch me
Harden.
up. Touch me up, Dustin.
Oh, man, let me tell you. Honestly, I'm really not that surprised. I know we discussed about it very briefly last week, saying that if Russell Westbrook was going to go anywhere, I didn't think he was going to go anywhere because how much money he was owed. But what better place to go than a team that's already paying that much money for a player?
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally perfect. They just traded contracts, so I understand it from both sides. Me personally, I think this has been brewing for about a couple of years. There's been multiple reports about the James Harden and Chris Paul beef. Specifically last year at the end of Game 6, there's a lot of people said that they had a verbal exchange in the locker room and they eventually stormed off and they didn't talk for weeks after that. So I think at the end of the day, everybody knew Chris Paul was going to get traded, but I didn't think anybody saw Russell Westbrook going there.
There was in the talks. It was buzzed around. We did know that
Yeah, they
Houston
kept
was
saying
interested.
it was a far
Houston
stretch.
was interested, but like Dustin said, those contracts are ridiculous.
Yeah.
But if you're going to pay the person the same amount of money, might as well pay somebody that your team can actually be happy with.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm going to say, though, Dustin, that I'm going to ask you, can you run that same system with Westbrook?
No, absolutely
You
not.
can't.
No.
Westbrook can't make threes like that.
So who's going to give up the ball more?
And I'm honestly, man, I am almost tempted to say they might have gotten worse, dude. I'm not saying that definitively, but Russell Westbrook, his shooting percentage, I mean, I can't even explain what has happened to this guy. He was shooting like 80, 90% from the free throw line to start his career. He's in the high 60s now.
Dustin,
I can't explain it, dude.
You know that
it is crazy.
You know that I will go to bat for Westbrook any day of the week. But his stats, I have to agree with you. Every single year, every category that has to do with shooting, it gets worse. It's like he starts focusing more on his fashion line or fighting Damian Lillard or the other person on the other team and just...
But what's his assist looking like?
His assist always great.
Now that's
His
great.
assist
And you know
always
what?
great.
But I
And
mean,
his
do they
rebounds.
improve every year as his shooting goes down, or is it kind of just consistent?
Yes.
I mean,
I haven't looked at it like that. Yes, I can agree with that.
I could
but
trade that off.
when he's a compiler, like we spoke about,
Yeah, no.
and your team is letting you grab rebounds, like the big men are letting you grab rebounds. Like I would love to see him try to do that in Miami, where they actually have big men. Well, they traded Whiteside, but even besides Whiteside, they actually play with their big men. I don't know.
The best he ever shot at the line in his career was 2014-2015, 83%. He is shooting 65% right now
Free throw line?
from the free throw line.
DeAndre Jordan shooting better free throws than him.
Dude, come on.
DeAndre Jordan
Now-
is shooting better free throws.
What was the main reason of that Chris Paul and James Harden beef? Because of what? What was Chris Paul upset about?
He wanted the ball. in his
He
hands.
wanted the ball more. And what is James Harden going to do? What does Russell Westbrook do?
Same. They're all ball dominant players.
They're the same player.
But this is the only thing that I will tell you. I think that the Rockets got better only by the stance of your star player is happier now. And your star player already has a relationship with this guy. This isn't a new guy that you traded for. It's not like they got Jimmy Butler or something like that you have to bring him and like teach him a whole new system or how to play with James Harden. Westbrook's already played like that. The only thing is when they played in OKC, James Harden was the sixth man.
Yeah,
so it was easy
Just
to
about to
take
say
out.
that.
It was easy to take out Westbrook or KD or somebody that needs the ball and plug him in.
I was just about to say that. Like, when they were playing on the same team, James Harden came in when Russell Westbrook came out.
Now-
So let's not forget that.
When they played together, Westbrook looked at Harden, and Harden already knew in his eyes Westbrook was the better player.
You're a big Westbrook fan. Do you think Westbrook has the heart to do that? Westbrook thinks he's a dog, man. Westbrook thinks he's the best player on the court. He's not just going to give it to James Harden all the time. That's somebody who thinks he's a dog. He's got that Mamba mentality, for sure.
This is the only reason I will say he will.
He wants that ring.
Not only does he want that ring, all the people that he's played with. Every single year that Westbrook's been in the league, he's always had a star on his team. He started with Ibaka, KD, then got Harden, then got Paul George, then got all these different people that came to his team. He's used to playing with a star. And what I argued last week, and I will continue to argue, he already deferred to a player that he thought was better than him, Paul George.
Yeah.
Do we all agree in this room that James Harden is a better player than Paul George?
Of course.
In the MVP votes, he beat Paul George. He got second, and Paul George got third.
I'll say this. Paul George is probably the better overall player just because of his defense, which is why I love the Clippers so much. They probably have the best two-way players in the league right now.
Yeah, we've already discussed that with their defense. That defense is shut down.
That's what I'm trying to say. But now hear me out on this Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook thing. Now I know Russell has age on him. He's a lot younger. And he's usually a lot more healthier. I'll give him that, okay? I'll give you both of those. But hear me out on this.
Okay.
Chris Paul's a better defender.
He is.
He's a better shooter.
Hold on. I think Chris Paul as a career is a better defender. Right now, I don't think Chris Paul is a better defender. And I have stats to back that up. Westbrook and Paul George are the first teammates besides Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen to be in the top 5 steals in the same season.
Okay, now I love steals as a stat, but that doesn't always...
Blocks?
That isn't... Okay, well, blocks is... Okay,
They both do those things.
Okay, I mean, I would still rather have Chris Paul as a defender. Okay,
right now, today?
Right
no.
now. Right now.
I disagree 100% with you.
I don't know. I don't see Russell Westbrook try enough on the defensive
Chris
end.
Paul is at that age right now where his legs aren't where they used to be.
Yeah.
So his defending style is going to be more of a, I know what you're going to do, so I'm going to try and beat you there.
Yeah.
Westbrook isn't.
He's also a really annoying defender though. Chris Paul's going to get in your shit. He's going to get all in your junk.
Westbrook is a dog though.
Yeah. No, for sure.
He will attack you when you're coming down with the ball, slam it on you, and turn around and look at you and let you know that he did all that.
But when we say Russell Westbrook, nobody talks defense, is what I'm saying.
I think they're going to fit in, though. They've already played together, and I really, really think that they're going to fit very well together.
They get more minutes together.
It's definitely going to take some time, but I'll tell you what, in that Western Conference, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really put a lot of thought of it. Like you said, it's breaking news. But right now, they're definitely not a top 2 team. It's still the Clippers and Lakers. Yeah. For sure.
Like, our predictions from last week that we spoke about with the Western and the Eastern Conference.
I would move the Rockets down. Because, like I said last week, chemistry is so important in the NBA, man. You have to know exactly how. But Russell Westbrook, I know you're saying they've played together. I know, but he hasn't played with the Rockets. He had never played with Eric Gordon. He's never played with PJ Tucker. He's never played with any of them.
Hear me out from a different standpoint. Let's take a step back and let's put ourselves in a different situation. Me and you have played flag football together, right?
Yep.
We've played together. You know how I play. I know how you play. You've seen my speed. I've seen your speed, right?
Yep.
You start playing for a different team. Your team is awesome, right? The team is great. You hit me up and you're like, yo, Felix, come play for this team. If you're the quarterback, I don't care who else is on that team.
Oh, for sure.
You know how I play. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Westbrook and Harden play a quarterback position with their teams.
Yeah.
Westbrook has always been the quarterback for OKC. He has deferred to Paul George and KD.
And that's what I'm saying.
But besides deferring and everything, we have to give him credit for loyalty.
Oh, for sure.
12 years.
No.
12 years.
No, that's, the only
person more
nobody's
loyal
disputing
right
that.
now still in the league, Lillard. Lillard's a
That's it.
motherfucker.
No,
and
nobody's...
Curry. And Curry.
Yeah, but he gets rings there.
Yeah. That's
Nobody's
I give
disputing
you, that's
that.
automatic loyalty.
I know Russell Westbrook's loyal. I'm just saying...
But what I'm trying to say is they're both quarterbacks for their team. Westbrook has been that for OKC. James Harden went to Houston and ascended. He became a star player, a player that you have to discuss for MVP every single year.
Yeah.
Westbrook has already deferred to Paul George, who just finished 3rd in the All-Star vote, or in the MVP voting, sorry.
Yeah.
He's already deferred to him, and he's already given up he's a better player than me. You don't think he's going to be able to do the same thing with James Harden? James Harden is a better player than Paul George. We all agree with
now,
that.
when you're saying deferred, just because Paul George finished in MVP voting, who was bringing the ball up all the time?
Yeah, but
it was always Russell Westbrook.
But
that's what I'm trying to say.
But who was shooting the last shot every single time?
Okay, that's different.
That's what I mean by deferring.
That's different.
That's why Jimmy Butler is such a great player and such an asset for all these teams. because he wants that last shot every single time.
Look, like I said at the start of the podcast, I wouldn't definitively say that they're not a better team, but I don't think they're that much better of a team is what I'm really trying to say.
Houston Rockets?
The Houston Rockets are not that much better than they were yesterday.
What I was going to say with the predictions that we made, you would move them down. I feel like I would leave them right where they were at or slide them up maybe one spot.
Now, just to be clear, we're talking about where they're finishing at the end of the regular season.
end of the
Because
regular season,
my thought process is it's going to take a couple weeks. Like those first 2 to 3 weeks of the regular season,
awful.
It's going to be bad. And I'm saying the Lakers are going to come out swinging. You know the Clippers are going to come out swinging. The Jazz have already played together. They just added some better pieces.
Yeah.
They're going to come out like 10-2, 7-3, all that.
Not to mention what we discussed last week. The NBA's balanced now.
Exactly.
Every team that's coming out is going to give you a run for your money.
So if we're just talking about where they're finishing in the regular season, if they had Chris Paul on their team, I think they have a better record because they know how to play together. That's my argument. I think they lose more games than they did last year because
the Heat when they first came together.
Exactly.
This is the only reason I would agree with you. I think at the end of the season, the defense isn't what is the difference between Chris Paul and Westbrook.
Yeah.
I think Chris Paul making open 3-pointers is what's the difference between them.
Now, if I'm the Rockets GM, I'm still doing that move.
Yeah.
I just want to say that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not disagreeing with that.
But
I'm
I
just
think
saying.
that we can both agree if you leave Chris Paul wide open at the 3-point line, it's money.
Yeah, it's money.
Now, if we leave Russell Westbrook,
It's not.
No.
And I'm a Westbrook fan.
He
You know
gonna
that.
try to
But
drive
I will
it
tell you
anyway.
that it's
Yeah.
not money.
So let me
But he
let me
got
ask
heart.
you this.
He got the heart. I'll give him that.
I mean, he's almost a liability at the end of games, man. Because if he does, because I know he doesn't do it all the time. He did defer to Paul George all the time, but there were still some spots where he's like, you know what, I'm doing it. I'm taking the last shot this time. He didn't defer every single time, so remember that. In the playoffs, that can be big, man. That can be big.
Between him and Harden,
James James is known as a choker, and Russell Westbrook has never been past the first round without KD. So I don't know how that's going to work in the playoffs.
Here's the one reason why I would say he will. Chris Paul just finished doing that. Chris Paul just finished giving up his team, the Clippers, where he was the captain, like we talk about, the quarterback of a team. He gave it up to come and join Houston, and then he wanted the ball. We just finished arguing about that. He wanted the ball. Why are you going to come into a situation where you just saw a top-level point guard? Mm-hmm. Chris Paul's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Paul's going to end up
First ballot.
top 10 in assists, probably top 10 in steals.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
He has great numbers across the board.
He's a compiler.
He went over there to go and win a championship to seal his legacy.
And he should have.
But what happened? They kept fighting for the ball. And I think Westbrook already sees that didn't work. So at this point, what you've been doing and what you've been doing with your team that you've been the quarterback of, you haven't gone nowhere. You haven't won no championships. The closest you got was when you had KD, Ibaka, Harden, and you still lost to the King.
Let's not forget, man, when the Warriors were healthy 2 years ago, they were down, like 3-2 to the Rockets? The Warriors were. And they came back, and it was a Game 7 at Houston's home court.
You're talking about the one where the Houston
Where
Rockets
they went like 1 for 30 from 3? Dude, you want to talk about a choke job? Chris Paul was hurt that game.
They missed 27 3
Crazy.
Yeah,
you want to talk about?
You gotta stop shooting threes.
Oh my no, like it was bad.
Like, yo,
even like wide open shots were.
I mean, dude, if you make like 5 or 6 of them, you're going to the NBA Finals. Yeah. It was a close game.
Yeah,
like even with them missing all those, I think the final score was within 10 points. Like it was not a blowout or anything.
And if you ask me what put him over the edge, I'd probably either say that point or Game 6 last year. Because Chris Paul was hurt that game. And if I'm Chris Paul, I'm sitting on the bench and I'm watching my team go out there and do that. In my mind, I'm like, damn, if I'm on that court, we're going to the finals.
Yeah.
And I'm upset.
I'm
at
sure
myself, at the team, at everybody. And I bet you he went back in that locker room, probably spat a few words, and it went down from there.
The only thing that bothers me with this whole Chris Paul situation that we keep talking about is, you remember when we talk about Iggy? Mm-hmm. What's the first thing we say about him?
Great defender. Great leader.
As a person.
As a person?
Straight up.
Absolutely.
He's a real person.
Yeah.
I'm starting to question Chris Paul's credibility with like being real or like being this person. Because
I agree with that.
We saw these posts already about the Harden Chris Paul argument and them arguing at the end of the game. And what he do? went on social media and commented under it, well, this was news to me or something along those
No,
lines.
I agree with that.
Why do that if it's true?
I agree with
Keep
that.
it real. You
Yeah.
know that they're going to trade you or you know they're looking to move assets.
Yeah.
But maybe in his eyes, he's just like,
Clout
you know what?
chasing.
I'm making $42 million. They ain't going to be able to trade me.
Yeah.
Well, hey, pack your stuff up because you're moving to Oklahoma City now.
And you're eating Applebee's once again for
And-
every day for the rest of your
Back
life.
to Applebee's. So
Yeah.
let me just say this. Chris Paul, I'm sorry, but we need to have a moment of silence for your career right now.
Because that was the end of it, bro.
That was the end of your career.
That was the end of it.
You're about to go compile stats in Oklahoma City, passing assists to people that we don't even know their names.
That's what happens when you beef with the better player on your team. Don't do that.
We're going to call him Chris Barkley.
Chris Barkley.
Now, just to finish this off real quick, I just wanted to run through Russell Westbrook's stats, his shooting stats for this last season, just to finish it. 42% from the field. Okay, Steph's shot that from 3. His field goal percentage from 3-point. I want you to take a guess on what he shot.
From 3-point?
20.
Yeah.
22.
No, higher than that. That'd be atrocious.
I love
Hey,
I love Westbrook, so I'm going to say a 28%. A clean 28%.
29.
Okay.
29.
29.
Yeah.
That's awful.
But
That's awful.
I already know that. That's like what I was saying. I think that Chris Paul pushes them over the edge a little bit record-wise because of that. He'll hit the open three-pointer when Westbrook won't.
And I know we like to throw this word around, compiler, and if you were to make a Hall of Fame of compilers,
Westbrook is the number one person.
first ballot, bro.
Oh, yeah.
First ballot. Mr. Triple-Double has to get all the
He's a Hall of
rebounds.
Famer right now?
You know who else is
Probably
on that
because of his
list?
stats, yeah. Now, look, I think Russell's a great player. I don't think he's top 10. I
Of all
think he's a
time?
great
Of all
player.
time,
no.
No, I'm saying right now.
Neither.
No.
Nah,
No.
He's
I
definitely-
agree with you.
yeah,
Top
okay.
But what
Top
I'm saying
20.
is Westbrook in his career, we have discussed him in top 10.
Oh, yeah, when he was shooting a lot better.
Sure, but he's won MVP before.
Yeah.
When he was shooting not that great. You
Yeah.
get what I'm
Well,
saying?
that's because he averaged a triple-double.
Exactly.
Which, honestly, he has ruined. Because he's made it look so easy that it's almost like it's not even a big deal anymore.
So you're going to blame somebody for making something look easy?
All I'm saying is he's a Hall of Fame compiler.
Hey.
That is what I'm saying.
Hey, Mr. Colts, you want to give Peyton Manning a shout out and tell him that you're mad for him making your offense look so easy all the time,
I love
every
Peyton
time?
Manning. Peyton Manning was a system.
Hey.
That's why he's the GOAT.
That's how it...
Tom Brady's not the system.
We are go for liftoff.